Hi guys. Yesterday we were talking about probability and how to calculate that. Today we're going to be talking about the same thing, but also when you're doing like experiments. And so one of the words is experimental probability. That basically just means like trying, like flipping a coin multiple times and recording like what happens. And the other one was theoretical probability, like what we expect to happen, but doesn't always. So theoretical probability is what we talked about yesterday. And it's the number of favorable outcomes, meaning what we want to happen, over the number of total outcomes. So like flipping a head on a coin is 1/2. Experimental probability is how much we want it to happen, or like what we want to happen. So the number of times I flip heads over how many times I tried. So if I tried to flip a coin 10 times and I got 7 heads, my probability would be 7 out of 10. And so the next slide is deciding which one of these is the experiment and which one of those is like the ideal probability. So the first one, it says toss a coin and get heads, and that's, or a tail, and that's 1 out of 2. That's theoretical. That's what we expect to happen. And so theoretical will go here, and the probability of getting heads is 1/2, and the probability of tails is 1/2. This one, it says you tossed a coin 10 times and you recorded that you got heads 3 of those times and tails 7 times. This is experimental, meaning I tried it. So the probability of heads this time is 3 out of 10, and the probability of tails was 7 out of 10. It's like what happens. And so we spend a lot of time in class today working on the next 2 slides. I go over a good chunk of it. And so I have a spinner over here, and it lists out SpongeBob, Patrick, and a Krabby Patty. And you are going to tell me the probability, what we would expect to happen of each of those 3, and then what really happened when somebody spun it 20 different times. So I'm going to do SpongeBob with you. So ideally, SpongeBob is listed 3 times, so I would get 3 out of 6, simplifying that to 1/2. And I'm letting people use calculators today because the decimals don't work out lovely. So 1 divided by 2 is 0.5. I should already know that one. And that is 50% as a percentage. That as a fraction, so then that was what I expect to happen. I then did that 20 times, and I got SpongeBob 8 of those times. So this is an 8 out of 20. And I can divide by 4, and I get 2/5. 2/5 is the same thing as 4/10, so it's 0.4, and that is 40%. So this is what you're going to be working on today, is just practicing finding what the ideal probability would be, the theoretical, and then also recording what the experimental probability was. And then last thing I want to do down here is it says use the theoretical probability to predict the number of times that Patrick was landed on. And so Patrick's fraction is 1 out of 6. And I want to know how many times I would expect to land on him if I had 100 tries. So I set up a proportion. 1 time out of 6 tries is equal to what out of 100? And you do the butterfly method to solve this. We end up getting like 16.7, which doesn't really make sense when you're talking about how many times I'll land on Patrick. So we rounded up to 17. So that's all you're going to do for me today. When you're finished, you can work on Excel for a little bit, but that's about it.